Hey guys, Joonas here from the Regular. Welcome to this video. I'm just going to go through the current opportunities in the Spring Racing Carnival. We're in the middle of it right now, and the edge is enormous. And so I just want to detail out a couple of key points right now. For those not familiar, my background's in quant finance. I've been a professional derivatives trader for many years. I did a stint at Bet365 as well, and I've been betting for many years. Before I get into it, yeah, you can, who is this edge alerter? Who is this guy talking? You can see all our reviews online if you just go Google edge alerter reviews, and these are the sorts of typical comments that we get. You can feel free to check those out in your own time. So the agenda, I'm going to go through the bookies at the moment to have some new ones in the market and talk about the existing ones, all those that have been around for a while, the current promotions landscape, which is phenomenal at the moment, and the execution of our system, and really dive into scaling and mug betting in particular, which are often less understood. So the bookies, so we did a survey recently, surveyed a bunch of our members, and excuse me if the text is a bit small, but I'll put the link into the video description. But basically, you've got 34 bookies at the moment. Anyone with a ranking of 12 points or greater is definitely worth having an account with. So at the top, you've got the sports bets, the tabs, Bet365s, etc. There's a new player in town, Better. They're owned by News. Here's the sort of summary. There are about 34 really active online bookies at the moment. About 25 of those are really good to have accounts with. Just move this up a bit. And yeah, I mentioned Better. They're going bananas at the moment with trying to acquire customers. And ultimately, so you've got this Aussie market where it's never been more competitive. Every year we think it can't get more competitive, and then it just does get more competitive. Ultimately, the bookies are just printing money, just for putting up some copied prices from elsewhere. So they're printing, so that's great for them. But what's great for us is we're milking them, and they're still maintaining their profitability. So it's happy days. The glory days really do continue. So here's the link. Again, I'll put that into the video description as well if you want to have a closer look at the research that we did. They're the bookies, new and existing. Then promotions. So what are we seeing? Some of you watching this now will be very familiar with this already, but at the moment, NBA just started a few weeks ago, and you can see the kink in our profit curve here. It's just gone ballistic. We've made over $2,000, assuming $50 units in the last 7 days. So these same game multi promos are very good. The same game multis overall, that we're constantly seeing just an increase in the volume of them. And ultimately what happens is punters, they back markets that have an enormous amount of margin. And with a same game multi, the interesting thing there is because the legs are very often, almost always dependent on one another, the correlations play a huge part. So it's actually not easy to find anywhere near fair value in a same game multi. And on the bookies side, it's very easy for them to just completely rip your face off with abnormal correlations, which aren't correct. So we've got this negative correlation approach, and that yields some edge. Without promo insurance, it's not profitable. It is hard to win. Again, same game multis, the margin is enormous. They bleed about 5% on turnover if you back them without the insurance. But with the insurance, they're winning at 28%, which is fantastic. So seeing a lot of same games, not just from Sportsbet, but Tab and a bunch of others as well. And the racing day, the racing continues. I mean, these are just screenshots from some upcoming days, but Sportsbet's doing to 5th a lot of the time. Tab to 4th. Better, the new bookie, is doing to 4th. Yeah, so it's just glorious times. So really same games and the racing is where we're finding the best opportunities. So execution, bit of a wordy slide here, but a couple of, I'll sort of zero in on the key things to focus on. So scaling. So how do you scale this up? If you're a $50 punter or a $10 punter, and then you've made a bit of a bankroll, how do you scale things up? The importance of mug betting. You need to sort of be mindful of this if you want to be in this game for the longer term. So key principles. So straight up, open up accounts with 20 or more bookies. Check out the list in that research for the ones that our members viewed as the best ones to have. Warm up the accounts. So at least a week or two, just do some non-promo betting. In that first couple of weeks, the bookies are looking at your accounts very closely, and you want to look like you're not there just to smash them on promos. You're there to do some muggy things and donate. So here's a very simple strategy. So if you don't want to risk anything, but you want to, mug up your accounts, just back the plus line with one bookie and the minus line with another bookie. So, for example, in the NBA, if the line is 10.5, back the plus 10.5 with Sportsbet for $100 or whatever it might be, and back the minus 10.5 with the tab for $100. And you're not risking anything. You're just donating about 5 or 6%. Great way to do that with no risk really. You're just donating. Work out your stake size. We suggest max 5% of your betting bankroll. These profit charts, they always go up in the long run, but if you zero in on them, they do have little bumpy rides, and sometimes you even have drawdowns. So you want to be sort of managing your risk there, which is one of the forgotten principles in betting and trading often. Spread betting across bookies. Yep. So ideally, you're not just hammering one each week. You want to sort of take a bit of sports bet early, a bit of tab later on, and just ultimately don't take more than 50% of promos that a bookie offers per week. So if Sportsbet's offering 40 promos in racing a week, cap it at about 20 of those that you take with them. Scaling. So obviously you can have, your accounts ready to go and click on them as fast as you can. And you can scale it to sort of 2 or 3 bookies reasonably easily. You'll miss a few when the tips come super late, but you can get on with a few bookies at once. We've actually got a bot as well that automates betting. If you want to, we're sort of keeping that on the radar. If you'd like to learn more, just message us on Telegram and we'll let you know how that works. And then going forward, just maintaining that promo versus non-promo ratio. Our long-term numbers are approximately 31%. We win on the sharp bets, so our tips. If you follow this plus-minus strategy, you'll lose at 6%. So a bit of stuff to digest there, but I'll try and in this next slide sort of through the use of an example, bring it all to life. So ultimately, what's the maths look like? Okay, so this guy is saying they win at 31% on the tips. You can do this mug betting thing. You lose at 6%. Okay, it kind of makes sense. So let's do a case example here. So let's assume you're a $50 punter and you're following our system. You have 20 bets in that week. That'll be a turnover of 1,000 for an expected profit of 310. It's obviously not going to be 310 exactly every week, but that's a long-term expectancy. Some weeks will be 200, other weeks will be 400, etc. Mug betting. So you do this 6%, negative 6% donation method. You follow the 50-50 ratio of turnover. So you've got to do $1,000 of mug betting this week if you've had $1,000 of following the tips. Use this strategy, you'll lose at 6. So you're making 6%. So $1,000 multiplied by 6%. Is $60. So you just donated them $60. So your net profit there in 1 week is $250. So that's a simple example of the numbers. Obviously you can go much higher than that. But if you follow all the Wednesday and Saturday tips, there are more than 20 opportunities. There are far more than one bookie offering each race or game. So you can scale up the units as well. But that's just one key example, just a simple example. So summary. So bookies, new and existing, phenomenal time to be alive in Australia with so much competition, so much edge with the bookies and all the promos they're doing. Honestly, I thought they'd slow it down 2 years ago. I thought, the likes of us would get on their radar, but happy days they haven't. Hasn't impacted it. Again, it's probably just because there are just so many more mugs out there. We might have 500 members, but you've got about 1.5 million active sport and racing punters in Australia. So work out the nut percentage there, and we're just sort of a drop in the ocean. Ultimate outcome, just never been more edge. So it's a great opportunity for a side income. Before I go to the next slide, if you like this video, give it a like. If you want to see the future videos, feel free to subscribe. Final points. So this sort of gets to, those who are new to this, maybe seeing this video for our videos for the first time. But look, we've got a current membership offer at the moment. You can get 50% off for your first month on any membership. Just use the code 50% at checkout. Again, I'll put these details into the video description. If you want to suss it out first, totally fine. We do 1 week free trials. You can ask questions. You get onboarded with all the relevant info, etc. They're quite interactive. It's a good way to get your head around things early because there's a bit to digest. So just go to our homepage, edgealerter.com, register there. And I'll also put some extra handy links in the video description you can check out. If you've got any questions, Telegram Messenger, that handle at edgealerter is our support channel. We've got all our traders on there. So Usually get a response within a few hours if you're messaging between sort of 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. Sydney time. Or you can email us here. Thanks guys, hope you enjoyed the video and enjoy spring racing.